Mr. Kim misses his younger daughter, but these days he didn't make any call to you because you had sold your shares to John Jungkook. They're afraid that Jungkook would make any moves that swallow the whole company and there would nothing be left for Kim family's hire Chongwo and Chongen. The main purpose of Kim family to contact you was that now they finds out you are married to John Jungkook and the two families will be relatives as a result. It can benefit Kim family to be befriended with Joan family. The good opportunity was that you could go back to Kim family and piss the year one and her mother, but you can't possibly do that for the sake of your baby. You're pregnant now and you can't entangle with any issues. After some times, you walked into Hive Enterprise building. You couldn't help but think of the time when you came first time with lunchbox just to find out if he had any mysteries and about his results. The first time here was not as expected. People here were unknown, but now things had changed. People greeted you politely with smile. No one stops you. Receptionists even inform you that President John is in the company at this hour. But this time you didn't came with any lunchbox. Minho was reporting schedule to President John when the hair light knocked out in the door. Come in. Cook looked up and saw the girl walking in. The coldness and infinite tenderness of this perfect man flashed in front of his eyes when he saw the person he yearning to see for the past few days. He just catch his sight and immediately looked down. President John, I will settle the rest. I will go out first. Minho bowed. Jungkook nodded gently. On the way out, Minho bowed his head and you smiled at him lightly. Door was closed and you were left alone with President John. Jungkook picked up the teacup and took a sip without looking and gestured you to take a seat. Sit down. Couple had not met for 3 days and the atmosphere seems awkward, but there is something else more than that. Unspoken thoughts of two different persons, you sat down without word. Jungkook slid the document towards you with his pen. The shares of Kim Group, if you don't trust me, sign it. I will get it back on your name as soon as possible. He looked at him for a while before picking up the pen and sign your name off on the paper. These days, his sudden voice made you pause. Have you ever thought about coming back at home? Home? John Jungkook was your home, but you were kicked out. You lowered your head and your eyes stiff at one place. I don't dare. The President Jones' indifference will make me feel that my initiative is very cheap. You signed the paper, although you have habit with people being around, you have dignity. If someone asks you to leave, then you won't shamelessly stay to look at people's faces. Just as the beginning, if you don't like Jungkook, then you might stay for the sake of his money, status, and reputation. But love was so strange. Some people might take long time to move on from their last relationship, but you were pretty fast. You just spent 5 to 6 months with John Jungkook, and your heart started to skip its beat. In front of you was the person of this reason. You forced a smile at him. He stared at your face. Hear it. You slide the paper. After a moment, his eyes moved down from your face to document and nodded. Okay, I will get someone to arrange it for you. There was not much expression on his face, and you tried something to find out. So, what else? Did he not have a single trace of nostalgia for you? Is it necessary to bring the divorce procedure now? But no one mentioned it forward and keep looking at each other. Both's perceptions was that Jungkook thought that you wanted to divorce him and you thought that he wanted to divorce you. However, Jungkook was the person who had experienced a lot. He had been through the business field for a long time, so he was very good at taking the initiative to seize the opportunity for the occasion and the conversation. He sighed, my lawyer, he paused. If you have something to do today, then you can come over in a few days. I will ask my lawyer to get ready the paper. Of course, if person is unwilling, then forcing her to stay won't do any justice. Two married people should have mutual understanding about their needs. If one doesn't want to work, then it's better to release. You're silent and frowned slightly. What did he mean? Was he pushing things forward? You stared at his face, but he was so calm and collected that your hand started under the desk. Is there any problem? There is nothing wrong on him. There is something wrong on you. You immediately stood up and take the shears paper and turned around to leave without a word. The moment you walked towards the exit door of office, his expression turned gloomy. The secret of business had been revealed. I have sent someone to keep an eye on your classmates. His identity is not fake, but he didn't go to the university after leaving Mongolia town's villa. He stopped, so you were cheated by your friend. You didn't expect that Choi Yongjun would be such a person, despite knowing your relationship with Jungkook, people's selfishness. Someone had taken the advantage of you. But I couldn't do anything as my wife decided to let the enemy go and use the things given by me to irrelevant person. Even after knowing I have to give an explanation to military train for the sake of memory device, and Thung is the representative of the military. To ask you to get out of there was not punish you. You didn't turn to look at him as your eyes are wedged. He looked at your back and leaned back to his seat. I was angry that time and asked you to get out. That wasn't intentional. You were stunned. Was he trying to explain? Was he apologizing to you? You immediately turned around. What? You're amused. What type of tough way to apologize? After he realized his mistake, shouldn't he be taking initiative to come and bow his head? You hold back your tears, then Jun Chokuk, do you love me? Of course, you are falling and you don't want to share your man with anyone else. This is women's strong obsession. Jungkook's expression suddenly became a little staged. If I remember correctly, I have said that I like you. His voice was soft. I said, I like the little girl who is not good at cooking, the little girl who won't listen to me and want to make rule on herself. I don't want you to like me. You cut him off and looked into his eyes. I want your heart to belong to me. Say something from your heart. I don't want you to think about the person who saved you. If she's in your heart, then what kind of role am I in your heart? He didn't expect it. You asked type of things. His eyes moved as if something in his eyes are suppressing. If you will find her one day and comes back, then will you take responsibility of her and of our relationship? Why do you ask this question? His brows knitted. If asking me to get out from there was unintentional and we make it up this time, it would be still unstable for me to be with you. One day you will give up on me for another woman. You want stable future for the sake of your child. After being parents, if you have to separate from your husband, then it would affect your child. You didn't wait for these days to come and trouble you. Jungkook gives you a deep gaze. Wine, he licked his lip and sighed. Last time when he saw the photo of you and his son, you wanted to wait for me to throw it away or confess to you. You blink your eyelashes and wipes it by your sleeves. Isn't it the same for me too, knowing you have someone in your heart, even I lied beside your pillow? My mind won't be at ease. In the past, with mutual agreement, you both had no choice to interfere into each other's life. Even he kept mistress outside, but today is different. The agreement was long broken. Seeing him not saying anything, you smile. I don't think it's necessary for us to ask those things anymore. Why? His expression turned cold and stood up before walking towards you. In an instant, your chin was grabbed, forcing you to look up at him. The corner of his eyes are sharp and mixed with emotions. Do you really want to divorce me? He looked down at you with that arrogant face of his. What does it matter about that little girl? Is it important to keep asking to me about it? Your eyes froze slightly. Don't you care about me and his son? Then why can't Jungkook laughed in a low and deep voice? Are you jealous? He narrowed his eyes. You shrugged your shoulders. I have no choice. I know I'm getting greedy more day by day, and the more longer I stay with you, I want to have everything. Even his hurt, you wanted him to love you and admire you like he does to that little girl. You're really capricious. He gives you intense gaze with compressing his lips. However, it's my fault to spoil you. Do you regret it? Your eyes turn red. Regret? A teasing smile appeared on his lip. His finger slowly traces on your waist, pulling you close. If the regret is this beautiful, then why would I mind? His warm breath hitting on your skin when he leans down and whispers, but I do really regret telling you about that little girl. Then don't say it. You pushed him away. If you don't want to insecure my future, then don't even ask about anything. I will come another day to sign the divorce paper for Mr. June. He turned around to leave. Wine, Jungkook hold your arm and pull you close. Try to mention the word divorce to me again. He grabbed your chin a little harder. It's you who forced me to. Suddenly your lips was blocked by him. Your eyes enlarged, the familiar breath enveloped all over your mouth, and you shrank back, unable to keep the balance. He was impatient and angry. His kiss was fierce and claimed you didn't even resist. The aggressive kiss slowly cooled down and he returned to his gentle self and smooshes your lips, kissing your cheeks softly. His muscles relaxed and heavy noise erased a little. Your heart was beating so fast and hands hold the hem of his shirt and tried to hold him in one place. You missed the time when you were with him. He couldn't help but tiptoe and kissed him back with same energy as his hands right up to his collar, pulling him close, tilted your head for a better angle. Hands finding way to unbutton his shirt's button, but then the ringtone of phone on his desk startled you and quickly break away. I'm sorry. You pushed him and ran out of office. Jungkook stood in the middle of office with eyes staring at the door. His hand that was hanging each side clenched. At the moment, he was really lost and never thought of having with a woman like this. But when you unbuttoned his shirt, it was hinged but was abandoned, made him unhappy. He sighed helplessly and looked at his messy shirt. He ruffles his hair back and touched his lips. The warmth still left there. He couldn't help but thought about the past day's things. He didn't intend to divorce you, but trying to tell you the seriousness of this matter and how angry he was when you used the things given by him for others. He didn't want to lose you, so he really needed to apologize to you because you're important to him for business. As Mr. Banks said, with his ability, he can build it again, but he don't want to lose you twice in his life. Jungkook closed his eyes and sat on the sofa. He really has soft spot for that little girl. No matter how much grown the one would be, that piece, you couldn't keep eating snacks at Changha's apartment. Wyan, you're really something. I know he used some tough methods to ask you back. He didn't want to divorce you at all. You chew and chew all the snacks before packets are empty. Who cares why he didn't think before driving me away? You felt little bitter when he tried to change the topic. Whenever the little girl was mentioned, he will act strange and try not to answer and give you positive answer. It seems that it was really hard for him to forget her. Dumbo, you finished all the snacks. Changha's surprised voice came in. She pat you on the head while talking. You didn't even realize that you have eaten her packets too. Don't cry, I will buy you a lot later. You smiled, showing your teeth. If it wasn't for the child's sake, Changha would have been taking revenge on you. You softly poke your belly. The baby is yet to develop. Later, you and Changha wanted to go for shopping. On the way, some van immediately stopped in front. People around screams when some gangsters came out of the van. You and Changha couldn't react at that time. Those men grabbed you. What are you doing? Let me go. Why? Changha tried to help you but was pushed away. Your eyes widened when they forcefully pulled you inside the van and drove away. No, Chanmi. Changha was dumbfounded. People around was also shocked. All the groceries was on the ground and she couldn't help but fear. Hurry up, catch them, inform the police. Of course, public are strangers after all. Why would they even help her? Changa alone was helpless and was looking here and there. She's being like the fish out of water. She called the police at first, then tried to contact Hive Enterprise people. As she don't have Jungkook's personal number, Changha's full body trembled as she thought that you're pregnant and what worse that gangster could do. Her heart was sinking. People are really evil. The blood splashed and you covered your ears while screaming. Cookie, save Ryan, please. The red and crisscrossed images flashed in front of your eyes. Women fell down on the mattress lifelessly. You cried hard and feel some pulling you away from the scene. Ryan, let's go. Run. You wanted to run when the big man dashed with some objects in his hand. With short slack, you tried hard to run as much as possible, and the boy who encouraged you to run for life hold your hand until the little girl behind him fell down on the ground. Boy kneeled down as big man approached with the iron rod in his hand. Boy held you in his arms and shook your body. You smiled at him with your trembling eyes. Cool, I'm okay. Boy cried hard and kept shaking you to stay away. That man was about to hit the same rod to boy, but then gunfired and person fell down lifelessly. The arrogant and vicious woman walked furious with four harassed men. Clothes are short and tight as if she likes to show her body. Her heart is full of grudges. After learning from her friend that Jungkook's married you, she was so angry, just like that when she found out her enemy marries her favorite idol. The man she dreamed of, why is she? Dial gnashed her teeth. John Jungkook was usually not close to women, but Jaewon leaked recent news about you being married to Jungkook. No matter, John Jungkook hurt my brother for her. She stamped her feet, jealousy taking over her, and walked towards the place where the girl was, laying unconsciously for almost an hour. Your eyes trembled slightly. Some jokes knocked you out when you were asking for help. When you wake up, you saw some woman sitting on the chair with her legs crossed. She hummed. The man she hired was standing behind her. You finally wake up. I thought you were dead and I was planning to bury you. Goodness, you are still alive. You smirked and looked at her nails arch. You tried to punch at her only to find out that your legs are tied up. It was a shabby house, seems like a storage room, and a breeze blew outside the window carrying a fish smell. You don't like the smell at all. Your face turned into disgust. You slowly supported yourself and sat on the dirty ground. I'm not you desperate. You wanted to sleep with my husband. Such a bad girl. You glared at her with dry smile. She walked closer to you. Mr. Jones didn't even announce having marriage with you. Why? How pity you could be. Rich man loves to treat women as their war. After their needs is fulfilled, they won't think twice to kick you out. You screamed, she grabbed your hair and smirked. Chon Chonguk, marry you out of love? You think so? Remember, I can turn this place into your grave and no one would find you. Suddenly, a mouthful saliva was spat on her face. You! Thal gnashed her teeth and steps back with disgusting expression and wipes it. beat her to death. She angrily pointed at you. There is nothing more annoying than venting her anger. Hype Enterprise. Jungkook sat on the sofa for long with his unhappy expression. Since you left from his office, his secretary placed the two cup of tea on the table. Papers are getting ready, and his lawyer sat opposite of him. Of course, he can call if he wants his lawyer to get ready everything within a time, but he tried to delay the process to let you know, but that didn't work. So he wrote the property paper and the facilities he's going to give you after divorce, looking at Jungkook's unpleasant look. Lord thought that he's unwilling to give you any property, so he suggested, President John, if you're worried for your property being deviant, then I will help you to collect the evidence that Mrs. Wine didn't obey your condition and make sure that she will not get anything from you. Jungkook frowned and looked up with his scary gaze. Excuse me, I said that I am in a bad mood today. Don't test my patience and write the timings I mentioned. If divorce is what you want, then we fairly divided each things. Oh, I'm sorry to misunderstand, President Joan, how much you are going to give her. Lloyd was ready to write down the conditions. The Moon Villa will be under her name, and each facilities I will arrange for her, and I will still be giving her monthly pocket money. A huge amount was still going to send by him to you. He was willing as he felt that he's indebted from the past. After settling the each things, his lawyer went out to get ready the paper. Jungkook sat there with gloomy expression. He wanted to reach you through phone, but your phone is dead and he can't even track you. He was so frustrated. He called his men to keep an eye on you. They informed that you went out with your friend. For some reason, he made up his mind not to divorce you and coax you. Back later on, you are angry and needs time to calm down. Even though you are an irrelevant person, but he have soft spot for you. It's not worthy for losing a wife for this kind of things. Business can build again, but relationship needs time to heal. So Jungkook decided to come front and apologize to military team and clean your name, taking responsibility about the consequences. In the end, he chose to forgive you and call you back to home. Because he couldn't bear to part with you. After you left for a few days, he had already begun to miss you, and his anger because fragile under his yearning. When he held you in his arms this morning, he didn't want to let you go, and he didn't delay to give an explanation to Taeyong on the phone. They talk like a real buddies that can understand each other so well. The way Jungkook supported you made him really magnanimous. Any women should be happy to get type of man. President Joan is really something else. Jungkook smiled helplessly, trying to remember that day. Theung, do you know why I married her? Theung thought for a moment and remembered the past. Just because she dared to play a tricks on President Joan and gives a tip for night, so President Joan's ego hurts. Jungkook find it funny and he couldn't help but remember how silly you were. To be precise, there is another reason. Another reason. Jungkook looked through his gallery and stared at the little girl's picture. This picture was years old, but he still looks at it with his indescribably gentle eyes. Jungkook wasn't confirmed when he met the girl at hotel room was the same girl he was looking for. He spent the night with that girl unexpectedly. He heard that nickname. Maybe you are just dreaming. Often that girl called him with his nickname, Ku, and you blabbered at the time made him almost thought that the girl is you. Back then, that girl saved him, so he felt that it was his turn to save her as well. For the sake of him, that girl lost everything, her mother and her memory. The part of him exists in her life was not memories in her life at all. Maybe it's good thing as she saw her own mother's dead in front of her eyes, and maybe that would be really unbearable to keep remembering. The mental trauma and the self-protection of own brain and the way iron rod hit on her had made her forget that youthful shadow, but God has pleased that little with life. Even though she forgot her past, at least she is able to stay alive. That little was really important for him, and Jungkook thought that little one only have him as their relatives, only to find that her biological father took the custody. The appearance was really different from the past, and he just can't confirm by that nickname, right? Jungkook's eyes darkened. He only find this girl matching the same vibe as his little girl, and he really believed that you are the girl. So he have all the reason to love you, and he had the responsibility to take care of you. He regretted the moment he showed his rudeness to you. How could he forget the past, forget that you are his little girl? The person he had been looking for long, the person he had been tracking all this time, definitely with the age your body shapes are changed, and the brotherly affection he had for that little girl turned into lust. Surely the feelings changed with times. He wasn't blood related with you in the first place, and after marrying you, it started from our romantic feelings between Jungkook had been keeping an eye on you, so he knew whereabouts you. Even he investigated why you were visiting hospital recently, and he got some report. It wasn't easy to get it, but since he have some power and rich, he used some method to get this. It came from the gynecology department, and people can easily guess what the case and right now. Jungkook is reading each details with his serious case. Is she pregnant? It seems like that President John, since hospital keeps patients' reports secret, Minho collapsed his hands behind his back and stood in front of Jungkook. Jungkook immediately threw the paper and stood up, took his coat and handed outside the office, gnashing his teeth. Why do you want to divorce me with my child? You wish? He need to go back to the residence where your friend lives and take you back in person. For a moment, Jungkook was so mad when he guessed that you knew that you were pregnant and you wanted to hide it from him. Wish he could arrest and bring you back right away, but he didn't want any wrong to you. However, on the way down, receptionist informed about the unknown call, and it was mentioned about you being taken away by some people. Jungkook was beyond anxious at the moment, but he tried to be calm as usual because calm could make the correct analysis. Minho took the number and personally called it. It was connected. Jungkook was impatient and took the phone from Minho. What's wrong with Vine? Fortunately, Jungkook have track on the new model phone that was given by to you. He immediately asked people to use the GPS tracking on mobile model number. Of course, the direction was in blizzard place, and it shows only one direction without moving. Minho make a call to a friend. Reporter came. Where is Madam Wine? Chungha was at the verge of anxious that she was reporting a kidnapping case to police. When she found out it was President Jones' assistant, she immediately explained what had happened. Where did you take wine away now? Man rolled on the phone as soon as it was connected to one. His son, who was just working without any issues, narrowed his eyes. Wine? What happened to her? I'm asking you, it's you who took her away. I will definitely kill you. Chungo cursed at his cousin brother. His son chuckled at the business. Or, why would I have that much spare time to kidnap your wife? She is popular and everyone wants her, his song mocked. Believe it or not, his song if something happened to Wine, Lee Group will be lose its beneficial. Jungkook threatened him with aggressive tone. His son's hands, which was holding a cigarette, paused. Oh, is President Jones threatening me? He lit up the cigar. Jungkook sneered. Do you want to try? His son's face slightly stiff, but he felt something is off as Jungkook would not be anxious without any reason and joke like that. Did Vine really disappear? There was a terrible silence, and Jungkook also felt that his song would not stay this ease if he had taken you away. It's really not you who took her away. Why would I do kind of things, George? His son hung up the phone and his eyes knitted. He had no idea where would you run off at this time. He immediately walked out of the office. What happened, Mr. Lee? Where are you going? His assistant followed up. Wine is missing and John Jungkook is looking for her. Your eyes are full of tears that bursting out, breathing heavily as your whole body is in pain and seems paralyzed after man bears you. Faces have small cuts and blood is coming out of the nose. You curled up as ball when two men stopped their actions and looked at you pitifully. Such appetite, my man. I don't think she can bear more beatings. She will die. Your face is pale and beads of sweat oozing out of your faces as you endure the pain. You gritted your teeth, regretting each decision, arguing with this psycho woman. You make sure to protect your belly and shed a tears. Oh, you can't take it anymore. What about? She smirked and looked at the two men. Both of them swallowed a mouthful saliva when they get a gesture of beautiful lady, excluding a deadly temptation. But of course, they're afraid of Jungkook. They had already did great work that will made them fall into hell. What if they touch his lady, and what was the result? They hesitate for a while, but of course, the lady who hired them was giving orders to do everything she told. There is a lot of bruises left on your skin, and you coughed in discomfort. Let me go, please, you begged. Tried not to offend this crazy woman. If these big jerks beat you again, then you would not really bear it. Now, you know your place. This is the face that men fall in love, huh? She kicked you, making you fall down and roll over, trying to protect yourself, but failed. You screamed as she stepped on your back of hand with her high heel. This is the face you rely on the favor from John Chongkuk. Looking at your painful face, she laughed like a maniac. You will regret it. You cursed, making her stamp on your hand more aggressively, almost piercing her heels into your skin. You were the one who hit her at the restaurant's washroom. She didn't expect it that one day you would fall into her hands. This woman hated you the most and she would not sympathy when she tortured you to death. You could only try to push her leg with tearful eyes. You should know my reputation with Joan Chongkuk. Even I die here today, then don't think about living happily, borrowing man's power to suppress this psycho. You swore that as long as you would be alive, you will return 10 timer pain to this woman in the future. What you had suffered today, you had never hated a person this much. You know how ugly humans hurt are, full of envious and hatred when someone gets much attention than them. You just pray that God will save you today, not only your child, you would also be unable to see this word. Give me a knife. Tharn smirked evilly, your eyes widened. What are you trying to do? Immediately, you grab the knife as she tried to attack you. Knife slashes your skin, but you insist of grabbing for your dear life. She struggled with you and you bite her hand hard. That made her jerk away with a scream, but next second you were kicked down and landed on the ground with great pain. You choked on own sounds with mixed pain and curled up, gritted your teeth, and grabbed your tummy. It's itching, not sure which part, but pain was everywhere in your body. Such a dull pain was enough to make one cry. Never in your life you had beaten this much. You were so young to die like that. These inhuman people, my baby. Tears roll down and your eyes slowly flicker. You're losing your consciousness and you breathed heavily, clenching your aching tummy as you felt a bloating pain. Jungkook, in the last minute, you thought about him, what he's doing at this moment. Probably sitting in his office approving documents with his gloomy look. As you left him after kissing, a small smile crept on your pale lips. When you thought how unhappy his face was, you never ever thought that man would bring so much happiness in your life. You never regret the day being with him, but you would definitely regret now. If you die today, then you would not be able to give birth to his child for him. With the layer of cold sweat on his handsome face, with high anxiety, he froze on the spot when he saw the little girl laying there unconsciously whine. He couldn't move for a moment. The hatchet men are under President Jones' cage. The heart was also catch up and was saying she deserves to die. Jungkook plopped on his knees and took you into his arms and grabbed your chin. You okay? His voice was slightly trembling. You didn't respond. That made his heart cold and his body exuded a frosty aura. Did you hit her? Even he can't bear to hit you or even raise hands on you. How could these girls? Wine, wake up. He softly tapped your cheeks for a moment. He thought that you were no more. His eyes turned scarlet and he kissed your forehead. His whole body is trembling. Jungkook, you whispered slightly, making Jungkook stun, and he quickly reacted. Baby, you okay? He picked you up and strode out of his place. Make sure to treat them well. Jungkook demands with terrible eyes to his men and walked out of the area. Drive to the hospital immediately. Minho helped Jungkook to get into the car with you. The ground was dripping with blood each step Jungkook took. His white shirt was stained as well. Don't worry, I'm here. Don't be scared. He comfort you and keep kissing your wounded hand. Inside the hospital, Jungkook stood outside the operating room. After half an hour, light was turned off and nurse pushed you out. Jungkook walked by the side and looked at your face. How's she? He held your cold hand. Mr. Jones, she has lost a lot of blood, though her body couldn't keep it up. It was not what she wanted to hear at this moment. Hospital staff settled you on the ward and left with all their work. Ivy was connected on your back of your hand. Jungkook sat beside you and hold your hand kissing it. You are deep in sleep. He strokes your hair slowly. Don't worry, I will make sure I won't let our child go alone. He leaned on your forehead and breathed his sorry for his unborn child. He looked at your bruises and cut on your skin. His eyes flashed with coldness and he looked at the medical staffs. Remember, I don't want her to know about the loss of the child. Don't mention in front of her. Wine deserves to be happy. Jungkook stood out of the ward and heard out how his people deal with those culprits. They were sent in the jail. Minho looked at Jungkook worriedly. President John, how's Madam's condition? She's okay, but child is gone. Jungkook's hand clenched behind his back. Jungkook smiled in sadness. It's my fault. His eyes are red from crying. I shouldn't let her leave this morning. He can make you stay, but he chose to quiet down until the things happen. As a father, he didn't even know child's existence, and child has gone to heaven already. President John, Madam is younger now, and there is plenty of time that she should get pregnant again. Please don't be sad. The lump on his throat gulped down, and he closed his eyes to cover the pain in his eyes. Why he was angry when he was not short of money? It was really unfair. The loss of his child's prices are higher than losing any technology. He was much older than you, so he should give you everything and spoil you, right? The business he worked hard for and painstaking efforts, but for a man, if anyone asked which was important for him, his property or his wife, it was estimated that most people would choose their wife. On surface, after all, the assets were the result of their lifetime struggle, and as for wife, as long as they have a money, they can marry again, right? But who would thought that multinational company's president actually took serious after his wife? I can't let her suffer anymore. She lost her mother because of me. I should take care of her for the rest of my life, no matter what she did. After all, there is a Joan Jungkook in business world today. Because of her help back then, the smile curved on his lips. How silly he was. Surely he will get angry when he saw his wife entangling with another man and disregarded his feelings for some classmate, but he didn't think about divorcing you. His smiles wanted to tell that the little girl had grown up and now became his wife, but he couldn't brought this up to say it. Surely you will hate him for this matter. Things would be different in your life if he had not shown up that time. If you knew that he was the cause of all this, losing your memory and mother, would you regard him as enemy? He's afraid that you would leave him, afraid of left with only money and status. But he was verge of moment because he can't show up in front of you now. He was afraid that you would ask him to get out and demand for divorce. He was not ready for this, but he knew if you really doesn't want to be with him, he got a fulfilled your every wishes. He lost his child and gonna lost his wife as well. He slowly opened your eyes. The lights are dim, warming up the surrounding. You stared at the ceiling for a moment and didn't know where it was. Where I am? Of course, in the hospital. Man's voice came from the side. You were a little confused at first. Why would Jungkook be here with you? But you can't mishear his voice. Jungkook, You turned to the side and saw him cutting the fruits. Are you hungry? Eat something. What had happened? Did you and Jungkook's relationship turn to normal like before? What was the part you were forgetting? What had happened? Why can't you remember it? Jungkook slightly glanced at you and lowered his head to focus on cutting. Maid immediately rushed. Madam, are you okay? Let's have some soup first. You were a little confused when you saw Maid smiling gently, but there was a layer of swollen on her eyes. You sniffed and blinked at her, giving questioning look. Madam, we were so worried about you when you hospitalized. Before she could talk properly, she started to cry and covered her eyes with sleeves. Jungkook threw the knife on the plate and shouted, Get out! Mr. Bang was just walking and saw this and immediately came to support Maid. Let's wait outside. Madam needs some rest. Jungkook changed his clothes. He looks gentle and sad. Somehow, he walked towards you. Drink some water first. You looked at him. His aura is really something else. He looked so handsome, just like when you saw him in the swimming pool at first. Am I dreaming? She tried to remember. I was at the room full of duty and I'll remember this lesson. Don't run around in the future. He poured the water in the glass. After all, I'm a public figure. Whether people love me or hate me, but they mostly target the person close to me. You should be careful. You give him a faint smile. He really came at the moment. Jungkook raised the bed a little up and asked you to drink a water. You wanted to get up, but pain hit you. You covered your stomach and endured the indescribable pain. What was wrong with me? You frowned. Jungkook clenched his hands and hesitated to touch you as if you would be in pain with his roughness. You are injured. He put his arm behind your neck in order not to make you move. You stare at him, seeing how considerate he is. It was really rare for you to see. He again poured a bowl of soup. I was out today, and some people suddenly came and forced me to get on the van, and it was Thal's intention. Where is she? I will not leave her. Don't worry, you won't saw her again. Lie down. Jungkook ensured you wanted to sit up, but pain made you hiss. I told you to lie down. He sat beside you and blew a spoon of hot soup. His actions are light and gentle. First, he took a sip of it before he asked you to drink it. He's really a gentleman. That made your eyes welt up. Jungkook, hmm, he looked calm. You take a look at the fruit that he peeled just now. Did you do it for me? But it's a night and you can't eat it, so drink it. You took a sip while he feeds you. You choked on your tears and thought what you both had talked in this morning. Jungkook, can we not divorce? You plead, I want to stay with you. Tears slipped down on your cheek. He took your hand. I'm sorry that I let you get into trouble. I shouldn't have been angry with you. You sobbed. I know you are at fault because of me. You nodded, understanding him, and he faintly smiled. Although he have today's status, and there may be a lot of women wanting to marry him. He stayed single for the past 26 years, just to wait for his little girl. He strokes your fingers. Wine, do you remember how you used to do this? You couldn't say anything as you don't know whenever you acted careless. You used to ask for the little girl in my heart. In fact, he looked into your eyes. It's you. You blinked in a surprise. Are you lying to me? You laughed with tears. You know what? I'm happy being myself. I won't lie to you about this. For a moment, you had all kinds of feelings shock, surprise, complexity, and mixed emotions. It's me. Really, he has been looking for you. It means that he has you in his heart. It means that you don't have to share him with anyone else because it's you. Yeah, that's why I can't let you go even you were in fault. He wanted to coax you back, but he didn't know how well things work at this time and he was extremely sad. Jungkook promised me that you won't ask me to get out again in the future if I did something irrational. Just do it. He thought it. I'm sorry, forget what he said. It wasn't intentionally. He kissed your hand. You couldn't describe your feelings and extend your arms, asking for a hug. He leaned closer and took you into his embrace. I'm really sorry. I won't go against you in the future. Please forgive me. You cried, he rubbed your back. Good girl. The moment you forget what had happened, your heart relaxed and heart stone was lifted up, making your whole person like that. Be good and finish the soup, okay? I will ask chef to prepare something delicious for you. You nodded and wiped your tears. You drink soup and suddenly you remember something and your lips curled up. Jungkook, there is something I want to tell you. He would be definitely happy after hearing it, right? What's wrong? You must know about this since you sent me to the hospital, right? You pursed your lips and looked at him and blushed, taking his hand to put on your stomach. He looked at stared at you for a while. Wine, don't be shocked. I had a checkup last night and it came positive. Jungkook, I'm pregnant. Jungkook didn't move or say anything that made you feel awkward and pulled his hand. Did you hate that? I said, I'm pregnant. He suddenly smiled and used his back of hand to touch your forehead. You okay? Who told you that you're pregnant? He was stunned for a moment. Didn't you let the doctor check on me when I get admitted? Your stomach is aging. He looked at him worriedly. Can you please call doctor and let him see if our child is okay? He blankly looking at you made your nerve rack and you shouted, John Jungkook. Why are you in daze? Call the doctor now. Why you are misdiagnosed? Doctor didn't find you being pregnant, but I'm glad that you are preparing for yourself to give birth a child for me. He ruffles your hair thoughtfully, listening his calm words. Your mood is ups and down. No, what are you saying? I'm really pregnant, believe me. Just go and call the doctor first. Your face turned pale and you poke your belly. There's a strange pain around. My stomach is hurting. My baby must be feeling uncomfortable. Doctor, you shouted. This is not some kind of joke that you can take it. You had hardly accepted the child and even did ultrasound. Ultrasound? I did ultrasound just 2 days ago. You're panicking. Why and calm down, listen to me. You shook your head. I'm really pregnant, Jungkook. Please believe me. He held your face between his palms and kissed your lips. What? Quieten down and your wet eyes soften. He kissed you until you started to breathe normally. I'm happy that you're willing to give birth to my child. He whispers on the top of your lip, but I am. You tried to convince him. He couldn't help but kiss your lips again. His own eyes reddening, but he gulped down his emotions and tried to make you believe that you were not really pregnant. You were suffered from trauma and lost child. It's better to hide it from you than make your heart break. My stomach is hurting. Jungkook roughly lifted your hands, making you whine. See, you're injured and in pain. Your whole body is in pain. Don't Jungkook, let go. He put down your hands. I'm letting you know, darling. Not only your stomach is in pain, he was able to keep this matter under wrap. If anyone was present inside the ward, then they would cry like a maid and made you more worried. Is that so? You're a little confused and sense of loss in your eyes. I'm not pregnant. Your body is covered in bruises and deadly beaten. That girl, Dial, I swear I will kill her if I saw her again. Jungkook nodded and kissed your cheek. You can as long as you recover fast. Rest now. But you really didn't believe him, making him frown and let the doctor check on you for your confirmation because you won't give up until you saw it yourself. If you really want to get pregnant, then we can try often as soon as possible. He's considered. Your cheek is little hot. Don't be like this. You lowered your head. When you keep mentioning about the child, it seems that you can't wait to give birth to one. But now, knowing doctor mistaken your report, you just roll your eyes on Jungkook's word. When doctor did checked up, it shows you were diagnosed gastric and your menstruation cycle started to happen after 2 months. Because of anemia, you might forget the date and you staying up for late will lead to miss or delay the date. Was that so? You keep rubbing your belly in a daze inside. You looked at the ceiling. Jungkook was busy dealing with paper. After all, he's accompanying you in the hospital and his work has messed up a lot. You heard some noises from outside. It was Shangha who came to visit you. After getting approved by bodyguards, she rushed in. Wine, are you all right? You smiled at her and slowly sat up. As you see, not really good. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you well. She looked at you apologetically. Don't think too much. You sighed. Doctor said that I'm not pregnant. It was misdiagnosed. Changha was stunned for a moment before laughing. Wine, sometimes doctors do mistake like this. It's a common, but I'm glad, my girl, that you mentally prepare yourself to give birth. I will come to visit you often. Rest well. Now she turned around to leave with reddened eyes. Okay, see ya. Leaving you behind, her face was pale as, in the way inside the ward, she was told not to mention about the pregnancy and play along. When she heard that you had a miscarriage, her heart was pinched hard and she could hold but burst into tears. You had thought a long way that your child, but fate had a other option. Why are you not sleeping yet? Doctor seriously stared at you and you lowered your head as if you were catched by your parents' red-handed. I can't fall asleep. You looked up a little and smiled at him. He will accompany you to sleep. You bite your lower lips. He walked over and stroked your head, pulling quilt over. Listen. He took your hand on his. I'm sorry this time I couldn't made it up for our boss. He gulped down the lump and looked at you. But in the future, I will surely make sure to stay beside you every time because you are injured seriously that he can't accompany you to the bed because you would have some warm infection. So he asked you to sleep well for a few days at the hospital before you get discharged. The next few days, Jungkook was busy with his work and taking care of you that he barely get time to eat or sleep. Your abdominal pain has decreased a lot and period came to normal. Jungkook often helped you to go to the restroom whenever you wanted. Even bathed you like you're some kind of small child who needs to be taken care of well. At the third day of hospital, you were able to get out of the bed without anyone's help. You plugged your phone into the charger. The red and purple bruises slowly healing, leaving the cut marks. You drink some porridge sent by the maid from Itaewon Villa and cut some fruits for Jungkook as he went out to talk his subordinate. You walked out of the ward towards the waiting room slowly, just as you wanted to disturb them. You heard their conversation. What's wrong with it? His subordinates are reporting them something as Jungkook have that serious look in the face. President John that Mr. Kang tried to defeat his daughter in this case, but obviously we have strong evidence to send Miss Thyle to the jail. I will make her pay for my child's loss. My child won't go alone. It's not too much for committing a crime. John Jungkook lost his child after all. We must keep this matter hidden. Madam shouldn't know about this. The sudden crack of object on the floor took their attention. All turned on the direction only to find you trembling. Madam, why did you come out? Mr. Bang immediately rushed. You didn't say a word and squatted down to pick up the fruits. Your hands are shaking. Sorry, your voice trembled. You couldn't handle this blow. Shankuk was shocked for a moment that he couldn't react. Why? You quickly left from there. President Joan, Madam must hear this. Shankuk chased after you. Sometimes the things more you wanted to hide will reveal it sooner. After returning in the ward, you didn't know what to do. You looked at the outside of window, tears welling up and your heart is hurting. My child,